This November, something special is happening in Lagos. Join us for the Parenting Conference 2025, the movement shaping tomorrow's leaders. Today, come experience powerful insights, practical tools, healing conversations, and inspiration to raise children who will lead, succeed, and make a difference. It's happening live and in person on Saturday, the 22nd of November, at 4 Points by Sheraton Victoria Island, Lagos. Don't miss this life-changing gathering for parents, educators, and all who care about the future. Register now. Your journey to future-ready parenting begins here. The Parenting Conference 2025. The future starts at home.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you are from. You're welcome to the Winning Parenting Conference 2025. And this year's theme is Parenting for the Future, Raising Children to Lead, Succeed, and Make a Difference. I am sure you are all excited to be here this session. And I don't know whether some of you were able to make the last session. If you were not able to, please, you can go back and replay. You're all welcome once again. Please, you can engage in the comment section and tell us where you are watching from, anywhere part of the world. And you're welcome to the second session today. And this session is going to be facilitated by our own Fina. She is a family consultant and a teams coach. So you're welcome once again. My name is Temidayo Adesonya. So before we bring in us, Mrs. Sandra Oluwadare, to just give us something brief about our vision and every other thing about this conference this year. Over to you, Miss Sandra.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you for hosting us beautifully. And thank you so much to everyone that has joined us. Thank you, Mrs. Fa, for joining us. I saw you in the last session as well. Thank you for engaging. And to everyone that is still going to come in, and watch this replay. Thank you so much. Now, why are we doing this? We're not doing this to show off. We're not doing this just to be among the people that are organizing conferences. We're doing this as a sense of duty. We're doing this to, play our own role in nation building, right? We're trying to create this awareness. While it looks like every other thing should be, should I use the word glamorized, or the spotlight is really on many other things, but we're failing to see the connection between the family unit. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, the lights went off for a minute. So while it looks like what we're really doing is for us to see the connection between the state of the family unit and how we thrive as a nation, which is very important. So that's why we're doing this, just to create that awareness and to equip and empower parents with the resources they need. Parents need to be highly resourced. Parenting is not a journey that you just leave somebody to walk on by themselves. They need to be highly resourced. They need to be supported. It is not a one-legged Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
Sorry, I was trying to boot again. Yes, so yeah, basically that's why we're doing this. And you want to join us on this journey. We want you to share this message. Don't listen alone. It's not about the fact that, oh, I'm intentional, I'm doing my own bit. We want everybody to hear this message. That is how we can collaboratively, raise nation builders. So I want to thank you all for taking time out to be here. Please share this video, invite other people to join us as we continue in this conversation. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Oluwadare, for that brief discussion. So now we move on to introduce our speaker for this session. So before we do that, I'd like to just say something briefly based on the last session with Mr. Praise Fowowe. So one of the major things he did, he gave us an acronym for nation. You have to have, for you to build a nation, you have to nurture the system, you have to align values and behaviors, train for responsibility, invest in leverage, optimize talents, and narrative management. If you want to get more details, just go and replay from the last session. It's always on this, it's going to be on the YouTube channel, Winning in Parenting. And one thing I took away was one line, just a sentence he said, your family is the first nation. So that means that if you do not plan to build your family, that means that first nation is doomed, So we really need to be deliberate about our parenting skills. So now we're going to go and let's introduce our speaker for this session, Mrs. Fina Ikeji. She is a parenting, a parents consultant and a teens coach. So she's going to be talking about leaders in the making, how parents can help teens build vision, values, and a voice. So for those of you that have teenagers as children, I'm sure you would all agree with me that when they get to teenagers, the way their behavior just changes. So this is for you. And even before they become teenagers, you need to take some certain steps. So when they get to that teenage year, it's easily manageable for you. So let's have the
Mrs.
profile
Fina
of our...
is a passionate parenting consultant, educator, speaker, trainer, coach, and a life coach for teens and young adults. She has worked with parents and youths personally and professionally for 25 years, helping them understand, communicate, connect, and raise responsible leaders of tomorrow. Her organization, Parenting and Teen Solutions Limited, is dedicated to educating, empowering, encouraging, and equipping parents with the right tools to help themselves and their children, especially their teens, as they navigate through the changes and challenges of the adolescent journey. It is her mission to help, support, and nurture the evolving parent-child relationship, disrupt wrong parenting habits and norms, and transform the lives of families. She accomplishes her mission by helping parents do the inner work that disconnects them from their teens and young adults, and parents from a place of purpose, peace, and respect. She is the host of the Parenting Teens Solutions podcast, once listed as a top 10 parenting teens podcast. She is an Amazon best-selling author of the Parenting Teens Navigation System, a global speaker, a church youth leader, a recent widow, and the mother of 4 young adult children.
You're welcome, Fina.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Nice to meet you once again, even though I've just been hearing about you, but I'm happy to meet you. So over to you. The floor is over to you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. And honestly, I'm just very honored to be here. I've been speaking for nearly 25 years, and every time I get to speak, I am still honored and still grateful for the opportunity. Thank you to Sandra and to everyone in the team for Winning in Parenting. This is actually an amazing conference. And I think even before I get started, it's so important, and I think you mentioned it as well, that it's so important that even if your children are not teenagers yet, this is actually for you. Because the world that we live in today they're not waiting. If you're going to wait for the world to bring up your children, then you're in big trouble, because you can already see what's going on social media, the internet. You can already see what's going on, the voices that are out there. Our children have a lot of voices to contend with. So we are one of the first generations, Gen X and the millennial generation. We are the first generation to learn and unlearn and relearn things in parenting. So if you don't come on board, it's very important that you also share it with other parents, because when PF was talking about nation building, you can, if you just look at parenting as just you parenting, who are your children going to meet when they get married? Because my son recently has gotten married and had a baby, and it's about who do we have in our village? Who do we have as core nation builders? And that's why whenever you're learning anything about parenting, share it with other people as well, so that they can learn and they can bring up their children the way you're bringing up your children, so that in the future, when your children, when they meet each other, then they can continue this nation building, mission that we're all on. So that's what I thought I would start with before I get into what I'm going to share today. So really today, the topic I've been given is leaders in the making. How parents can help children, teenagers, build vision, values, and a voice. You see, these 3 V's is something that I teach young people in my Rise and Thrive Youth Mentoring Academy that I've got. The 3 V's are very important. So when Sandra gave me this topic, I was like, how did that all, it's just very coincidental. But these 3 V's are very foundational to the leaders that we are bringing up. Now, I can't see your comments and stuff, but who amongst you are raising leaders? I want to make sure that I am on the right platform, because this topic is for people who want to raise leaders. If you know your child is going to be a future leader, then you're in the right space. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak on this, because this is my experience. All my children are leaders in their own rights. And so I'm going to be sharing tools here that I've used in parenting my children. So that's what I wanted to start with today. Now, I think they're sharing the slides, so I'm going to just assume that they're sharing the slides. I can't see it yet, but I'll just go ahead and continue. Can everybody hear me? I think that's one thing I just need to make sure, and I think they are. Okay. So the key really now for us as parents is we've got to really look at what is the current reality of our children today. Why do we need to really think about leaders in the making? Why do we need to be intentional about raising leaders? Why do we need to even think about their vision, their values, and their voices? Why do we need to do that? We need to do that because I said it earlier on, our children are living in a different world from the world that we lived in. Totally different world. And so it takes you and I and our village to raise these leaders in this society. I don't want parents to think, this world is all gone. Social media is the influence now. How are our children going to grow up? Your children can grow up intentionally in this world, irrespective of the noise, irrespective of the outside voices, because your home is the garden. Your home is the place to nurture them. And you're intentional by even coming on in this conference. That means you want to raise your child differently. And so you're very welcome here. So we have to think about the current reality. There's rapid digital change. There are schools, peer groups, social media, values, eroded values. Things that when we were younger, we used to say, oh, this is the right thing to do. Now in today's world, anything goes. And your children are growing up in the anything goes world. So what should we do about it? What can we do about it? We have to, first of all, look at ourselves as leaders, because you can't be raising leaders without you being a leader. You're a leader in your own right. And when I talk about you being a leader, I'm not talking about your career. I'm talking about your identity to your children. Your children are learning leadership skills directly from you. That's where they're learning it from. You are their first leadership class. For a child to believe that they're leaders, They must have people around them who is speaking into their lives. And that is you as a parent, you as a dad, you as a mom. Without your voice as a leader, your children are going to hear other voices. Their teachers, their peers, their adults out there, there's social media, there's the internet, there's so many things they're going to hear. So you've got to first of all recognize yourself as that leader. You've got to recognize yourself that you are building that leadership school for your children. You've got to model what you're saying. You can't, this generation, I love this generation of children because you can't say one thing, do another thing, and they'll believe you. Now, if you want your influence to stay strong, because you need it to stay strong, if your influence doesn't stay strong, then guess what's going to happen? They're going to contend to other voices. So as a leader that you are, you've got to model what you're teaching. You've got to model it. You've got to be it. It's not about making the noise. It's not about shouting. It's not about control. It's about modeling those values that you want your children to have. That is really, really key. That is really, really key. So I want you to, let's look at now this vision, values, and voice. These are the three pillars in raising these future adults. And I don't want parents to think, oh, my child is only 2 years old. Before she becomes an adult, oh, that's a long time. It's not a long time. My youngest is 19 now. I remember when she was born.
Huh?
It's not a long time at all. So we've got to be very, very mindful about what we're doing here. The three pillars. Can we change the slide to the three pillars, please? Whoever is controlling the slides, please. Yeah, thank you so much. So these three pillars, and if you mute as well, yes, thank you. Thanks. So these three pillars as what's going to shape your young child. And what these three pillars are is we're looking at now the vision, values, and the voice. And I'm going to kind of break that down for you. So the vision is about their identity. And at this point, I'm not saying that they need to know their career. They need to know what it is that they're going to do. But as a vision, they need to know their identity. Who am I becoming? And one of the things that I did as a mom is that I spoke leadership into my children. I called them leaders even when they were from even 2 years old. From when they started talking, I called them a leader. So they already knew about that identity. I called them a leader. When I was even correcting them, I was using the identity to correct them. I was using their identity to direct them. I was using their identity to give them hope. I was using their identity to encourage them whenever they had setbacks. Their identity is key. You're a leader. This is what leaders do. If they go wrong and I'm trying to correct them, I say, oh, this stuff you're doing is distracting you from that leader you're going to be. So they bought into the identity. They bought into that leadership identity. Even when they struggled, the way I encouraged them was reminding them of who they are. That yes, you're a leader and leaders struggle. Leaders will go through setbacks. But guess what? A leader comes on top. A leader thrives. A leader, bounces back. I was always using that identity to pull them in, to get them to reflect, because you want to raise children who can reflect. You don't want to just raise children who are just obey as just do as I say. No, do as I say is so outdated. Do as I say is so limited, because if your children keep on just doing as you say without knowing the reason they're doing things, it will blur their vision of life. Many of the issues that we see with many young people today is because they're visionless. They've not been spoken to about their future. I hear many young people, because I'm privileged to be in this position where I work with parents and I work with teenagers. And I hear lots of teenagers ask me, Coach, what is the point? What is the point? They're going through setbacks. They're giving up. They're getting depressed. They're suicidal. They're asking me, what is the point? And what is the point? That question they're asking is because they're void. They haven't got a lot of information about their identity in them. Yes, you can call them a Christian. Yes, you can do that. But who are they as Christians? Who are they? And that's why you must personalize it. And that's why you must treat them as the leaders they are. Because I can't call my child a leader in one sentence and then tell her that she's stupid in another sentence. You've got to watch your language. So in terms of this vision setting for your children, you've got to watch your language. Your language is important. Because if you say something contrary to the identity, your children are going to hold on to what you said and not believe the identity you're calling them. So you got to be mindful. I have many young people who say, my parents call me this, my parents call me that name, my parents tell me I'm lazy, my parents tell me I would not amount to anything. You need to be mindful of the words that are coming out of your mouth as a leader. You need to be mindful, because if you're not mindful, you blur the vision of these children, and they walk through life not knowing who they are. They walk through life being tempted by different angles. They walk through life not, just being unsure of who they are, falling into different negative peer pressure. That's what's happening to a lot of young people today, because their identity hasn't been spoken to them. Their identity hasn't been modeled to them. They have not been corrected through the lenses of their identity and their purpose. So we need to be very, very mindful of that. If you go to the next slide, why do many children struggle with vision? And I've kind of talked about it in a way. First of all, there's a lot of comparison out there, because they have so much access to the internet, to social media, to all of that. There's a lot of comparisons. So a lot of times children struggle with that vision because there's a lot of comparison. Another reason that they struggle with comparison, if you go to the next slide, please, then another reason why they struggle with comparison is the pressure to fit in. There's always so much pressure to fit in. And so a lot of them struggle with I'm losing track because the slide is not going to what I'm saying, but go ahead. Why many children struggle with vision is the next slide. Okay. They also struggle with vision because of their low self-awareness and low self-esteem. And this is something that a lot of children struggle with. And they struggle with that, again, because of the voices that they're hearing. And that's why as parents, we must be very, very mindful, extra mindful of the words that we're telling with our children. Lack of opportunities as well is one of the reasons why many children struggle. And the fear of disappointing their parents. The fear of disappointing their parents. And parents, when I say this here, I'm not saying that we should not be disappointed, but we should tell our children, encourage our children, that even though we're disappointed, we believe in them. Our children need to know that their mistakes are not the end of the world. They need to know that. They need to know that it's not the end of the world. They need to know that they can still make it. My children went through lots of setbacks, but they still came up on top. They still came up on top. Earlier on this year, my son graduated from Harvard University after spending 4 years in Harvard University. Did he go through struggles before going into Harvard? Yes, he did. He got rejections. He applied for things. He got rejected. He played games. He didn't win in all the games. But I kept on using that encouragement, the power of words. And that's what he tells me today. He tells me, Mom, one of the things that kept me going were your words. Your words are one of the biggest tools that you have as a parent. Don't fall into the temptation of speaking negative words the way we were spoken to when we were growing up. Because I'll tell you something here. And I never say this to criticize our parents, no, because our parents did the best with what they had. What our parents were survival parents. So the way they parented was based on just providing. The love they expressed was, as long as they provided you a home, as long as they sent you to school, all those kind of things were priority to them. And I'm not saying it's not priority now, but we have an additional layer now. As parents who are parenting Gen Zs and Gen Alpha, you've got to have an emotional language. You've got to have emotional intelligence to be able to raise these children and give them the vision, the values, and the voice that they need. You've got to be aware of what you're saying. You've got to be aware of how you're listening to your children. This is very, very important, because without these values, without this vision nurturing, without this voice nurturing, Your children may not be the leaders that you want them to be. And as we say in the Christian world, that's not our portion, isn't it? So we've got to then say, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to make our children so that they don't struggle with their vision? Don't compare your children, please. On no account. No amount of comparison is motivation. Even if you want to say, go and, oh, your sister reads, I want you to read, like, go and read it like your sister. Please do not say that. Encourage them to read without calling their sister's name. Don't say, go and be like your cousin, go and be like your brother, please. Because when you compare them, they struggle with who they are. And when they struggle with who they are, they struggle with who they will become in the future. Don't put the pressure on them. Don't compare them to other people. Don't compare yourself as well to other parents. You are in your own lane. Figure out your own lane. Learn, unlearn, relearn, so that your children don't struggle with their vision. So again, how can we then build our children's vision? Expose them. Expose them, take them out, travel, go to places, go to museums, just expose them away from just their normal environment. Like, yes, they go to school, they come back, go somewhere, even if it's a drive where you're showing them places, you're talking history to them. Just expose your children. Help them discover their strengths. When you notice your children's strengths, tell them about it. Speak to them. You know what? I noticed this about you. I've noticed that you're very good with doing this. Talk about the efforts they put in that stuff. Don't say, oh, you're very smart. No, I love the work, the hard work you put into it. You have to speak about the efforts they're putting in. You've got to speak into it so that that's what they're encouraged to keep on doing and doing. Be future focused. That's what I did. And I'm still doing it now. Even my children that are young adults now, as we speak, I'm speaking to them about their next step. Be future focused. And allow them to question you. If you want your children to be able to build a vision, allow your children to question you. Of course, you want them to question you politely, so you teach them that. You don't just say, you're being rude. Oh, is that how you talk to me? No, give them the template of how to talk to you. Many of us make that mistake. How can you talk to me like that? You dare not talk to me like that. But we're not giving them the tools. You see what I mean? So we need to be mindful of that. Have you given your children the tools? Because this generation of children, they're very literal. Have you seen those posts maybe on TikTok or so where the mother has said, when the child has said, Mom, where should I put this water, or where should I put this stuff you've asked me today? And the mother sarcastically says, yeah, put it on my head. This generation of children, they will put it on your head. That's how literal they are. So we've got to explain how we want them to talk. We've got to model, we've got to role play to this generation of children the best way to speak to us. And when they ask you the question, why, please don't say, because I said so. Please don't say that. Give them the reason why. Because when you give them the reason why, they have it in their minds. If you don't give them the reason why, guess what they do? They make it up. They make those assumptions. And those assumptions may be the wrong assumptions. So make sure that you allow your children to question you. Make sure that you're talking to your children in a way that you want them to think about what you're saying. Because that's the way that we can help our children build the vision. Now let's go to values. You can go to the next slide. What are values? I tell my young people, my mentees, that the values guides their behavior and choices. And I ask when I talk to a lot of families and I ask them about values, the first thing I hear are godly values. And it's just the word godly values, my godly values. And I ask, can we be more specific? Because godly values there's so many things in godly values. Do you know what I mean? So I ask them, what exactly? Be specific. And let me teach you something here, parents, because this is what I do in a lot of the parenting coaching that I do. When we talk about values in our homes, we need to be very specific to our children. Remember, I told you our children are very literal. We need to be very specific. And when I say we need to be very specific, we need to think about, okay, this is our home value. Okay, let's say, for example, you choose an example like honesty. Honesty is part of your home values. Now, let your children know what honesty looks like. And instead of saying, we don't tell lies in this home, tell your children, we tell the truth in this home. Do you see the difference? Rather than saying what we don't do, tell them what we do. Is that right? Is that a right grammar? Tell them what we do so that they reinforce what we do. So stop always talking about what we don't do. Go and focus on what we do. We tell the truth at all times, irrespective of how difficult it is. What does honesty look like for you in your home? And get your children to have some examples of what honesty looks like. Integrity. If you choose integrity, what does it look like? In my home, one of the very popular ones that kept on repeating itself over and over again was hard work and resilience. And each child needed to give us what it looks like. What does hard work look like for you? What does hard work look like for you? Because sometimes some kids, depending on their brilliance, their intelligence level, some kids may say their hard work looks like after they've watched YouTube, then they will focus and do some work. That may be some children's view of hard work, especially teenagers. Let me put that in there. Some teenagers may say, you know what, my hard work is just work all day. Work. Let them define it so that they can then do it. Very, very important. They must know what it looks like. That's one of the mistakes that many of us end up removing from our homes. We don't tell them what it looks like. And for me, as my children were getting older, especially in their teen years, that question of what does it look like for you was something that we talked about a lot. Now, when they're much younger, you can tell them what it looks like. But as they get to become teenagers, let them define what it looks like. Because for me, when they defined what it looked like, we had a discussion about it. And after having the discussion, so that sometimes Tamara was going to do exams and I see her watching one of her shows on YouTube, I don't panic because she has a version of what hard work looks like for her. And she's committing to that hard work. Somebody else may say, oh no, I'm not going to watch anything until my exams are over. My youngest daughter wasn't like that. She wasn't like that. So I didn't panic because we had already made it clear. She had already made it clear what the value of hard work looks like. The value of resilience, because our children are going to go through setbacks. And they need to know, because I've coached a young adult who had not, throughout his secondary school, he was just excelling in all his stuff. And then in his sixth form, he failed one of the subjects, and that just brought him down. When I say all the way down, he couldn't handle it because he had never failed before. So he needed a lot of coaching to bring him back up. And that's what happens a lot to many children who have just succeeded and not gone through setbacks. And that's why I encourage parents, don't coddle your children so much that they don't go through setbacks. A setback is actually good for your child because it helps them to build that resilience that they're going to need in life. Their values define their character. So be very specific when you're talking about your values. Be very specific. It's so important so that your children understand it. Your children can visualize what these values are. And because your children have these values in hand, when they go out there in school and someone tells them something that is not part of their values, they'll be so confident not to flow with it. They'll be so confident to say, no, that's not what we do at home. Our home, the EKG family, this is what we stand for. And I used to tell my children, you're an EKG. EKGs are this, EKGs are leaders. That's how we were speaking up till today. So get your children to see your values and don't make your values like rules. Yeah. A lot of us confuse values and rules. I'm not telling you don't have rules, but make your values as the behavior of the home and you be included in those values. So if I'm telling my children resilience, I need to show resilience as well. If I'm telling my children hard work is as part of our values, I need to model hard work. And then what I do with teenagers is that I talk about it even more. Like if something happened at work that I saw myself being resilient, I give them the scenario. I say, guess what happened today at work, guys? You will not believe what happened today at work. I had to do this, and then this person gave me a hard time. But you know what? I told myself, I said, no, we're going to overcome this. We're going to get this. We're going to overcome this. I tell them literally. So we talk about it. And even when they're telling me about their setbacks, they tell me how they overcame that setback. Those are the kind of conversations to have with children as they're getting older, because you make it very practical. It's not about all what you're saying, all the rules that you're making. No, don't focus too much on rules. Focus on the values. Focus on modeling those values. They're very, very vital. And that's part of the foundations that builds your children's leadership skills. The next slide, why do these values matter? I think I've already shared why the values matter. So we can skip that bit as well and go to the next slide. Values will just make your children really, to be honest, make better decisions. And it's so important. And also build the internal strength, which I've talked about earlier on. How do parents build these values? So remember the why behind it. That's what I shared. The why behind it, making sure that they understand what it looks like. They have to understand what it looks like. They have to see you modeling it. This generation of children, if you're not modeling what you're saying, it's going to go in one ear and get out of the other ear. You've got to model it at all times. Very, very important. And then also reinforce small wins. When they get it right, praise them, give them a high five, do something. I'm not telling you go and buy the world for them when they model it, but just small wins, even wins in the words that you share with them. I'm very proud of you. I saw how you put that into practice today. I'm really proud of you. That's going to help a child's confidence and self-esteem. So really speak in it and avoid shaming. Avoid the language of shame. Because this generation of children, they're very different. Do you agree? They are very, very different. Avoid the shaming language. We grew up with a lot of shame culture. I remember being in a conference earlier on this year, and the teachers were, they were all kind of reminding themselves of old school rhymes, and they brought up this song. I can't remember. I can't even remember it now, but I remember just when they were even singing it, I was cringing on my thing, like, oh my God, this song. And even now, hearing the meaning, Olodo Lakpata, something to do with that. I can't even remember the song, but I remember that these were the kind of songs that they sang when we were kids. So you can imagine a child being sung that kind of song in today's world. I hope that's still not happening. Honestly, as the teachers were singing it, I was like, oh my God, because that was no. We cannot do that anymore. So please, if you are frustrated as a parent, and I'm going to be quite practical, if you're frustrated, if you're angry that your child has done something, you've said something to your child and the child hasn't done it, please, I'm actually pleading with you. Do not talk in that moment. Please, don't talk in that moment. Go and calm yourself down. Go out, leave the room, tell your child, we'll come back to this later. Please. It's so important. This thing I'm saying now is so important because in our frustration, in our anger, we have said words that has dug deep into our children's souls. And so now you hear many young adults talking about what their parents did when they were children. And parents today are feeling, you're not grateful. Why are you not grateful? I provided for you. I took you on holidays. I did this. But it shows you what matters a lot more to children. It shows you that the words of your mouth, the way you react to them, the way you speak to them, that matters more than the home you're providing for them. They're not being ungrateful. They're sharing their hurts. They're sharing their childhood traumas. Don't dismiss those conversations. There was a question, and PF answered that question when somebody asked, what happens then when our children are now youths and that we hadn't done the nation building when they were younger? And PF gave a proper, tactics of what to do: apologizing, open conversations, resetting the pace for now. What do we do as young adults, even if they don't live at home with you? We have our values conversations and goal setting conversations. We have it on Zoom because I have 2 kids who are in the States and 2 of my kids here in the UK. So we have it on Zoom. And PF talked about Zoom sessions. So we've really got to really think about this when we're talking to our children. Very important. If you're someone who gets very angry, if you're someone who gets very impatient, that's not the time to advise your children. They won't hear you. All they can see is your anger. All they can see is your anger. And if you want our children to, you want to help our children build these values, your behavior is very key. Don't think that, oh, I'm the adult, so I can talk. I'm the adult, that's why I can talk. No, you've got to model the behavior that you want from your children. And that starts with your values as well. Okay, so very, very important. And the voice. What is the voice? You can go to the next slide. The voice is not about being loud or being rude or talking back. No, the voice is actually the child's ability to express their thoughts, their feelings, and their opinions respectfully. But a lot of times, if we shut them down, they're not going to use their voice. And the reason, another reason why I tell this to parents, our children need to have a voice. Because when our children have a voice, guess what happens? They're very they can navigate the negative peer pressure. I work and I've talked to a lot of boys in the youth justice system. And a lot of times when I ask them this question, what happened? My friend said is the answer they give. My friend said. So a lot of times they've gotten into trouble with the law because of their friends. This just tells me that they don't have a voice. Because if they had a voice and their friend tells them, let's go do this, let's go and rob this person, let's go and do this thing to this person. If they had a voice, if they were nurtured, if their voices were nurtured at home, they will be confident enough to say, I'm going to pass. I'm not joining you guys. No. Yeah, I'm not joining you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. But because they've not been nurtured to express their thoughts, to express their feelings, to express their opinions, because they've not been nurtured to do that, they fall into temptation. They fall into negative peer pressure. Many of them are in problems with the system because they did not have the confidence to use their voices with their peers. And it starts at home with when we shut them down. And that's why I encourage us to always allow our children to speak. And if you find out that they're speaking rudely to you, then teach them how to speak respectfully. It's your job to teach them how to speak respectfully. You can't assume that they already know it. You've got to teach them. You've got to give them the language of respect. They need a voice. Because if they don't have a voice, then all these things that we're afraid of on social media, they will be targets of them. But when they have a voice, they can watch something and we can all talk about it. What did you think about that stuff as they become teenagers? What did you think about that? And then everybody can share their opinions. And that's what helps their values continue. When they don't have a voice, even the values that you've taught them from the beginning, they can easily leave those values. Many young people today have left the values that their parents brought them up with because they weren't nurtured to use their voices. They have to learn how to use their voices. And sometimes sometimes it shocks us because we weren't allowed to use our voices. So sometimes when our children use their voices, Mom, why? Why should I do that? Why should I do the dishes? Don't think when they ask you, why should I do the dishes? They're not being rude. They're not being rude. They're just asking you a simple question. Why should I do the dishes? You tell them you need to do the dishes because it's your turn. You need to do the dishes because you're part of the family and this is part of what we all do. You're doing dishes, I'm cooking, the other person is sweeping. We've got, and PF talked about that as well. We all have duties. And if they do ask you why are they doing it, give them the reason. Don't just say, oh, why should you ask me? Who are you to ask me? Shut up, get out. Don't do all that. Because when you do that, because culturally, a lot of us did that. Many of our parents did that. But if you do that, what you're doing is you're shutting their voices down. And you don't want to shut their voices down. You don't want to shut their voices. And so why do children struggle with their voices? Many of them have been misunderstood. Many of them have been shut down. They lack the emotional language as well. You can go to the next screen. They lack the emotional language. And so we need to teach them how to do that. Low confidence, all of that is why they struggle with their voices. How can we then help them find that voice? Listen without interrupting. You can go to the next slide. Listen without interrupting. Ask them open questions. Help me understand what you're saying. Allow them to disagree with you. It's okay. It's not disrespectful. It's not ungodly. It's not ungodly for them to disagree with you. No, it's not. Let them disagree with you. Let them give you their thoughts. Because a lot of times when they disagree with you, ask them, okay, give me reasons why you disagree. It's in those reasons you can then teach them. When you see that those reasons are wrong, then you teach them the correct one. But if you shut them up, if they just obey, they don't say anything, they keep their mouth shut, you will never know the things that they know, you will never know what they believe in. So allow them to disagree with you so that you can then teach them the right way. Do you understand? Because we learn a lot from our children. Build community safety at home. Let your children be free to speak to you, but teach them that language of respect, because that is so vital. And then kind of putting it all together. You can go to the next slide. Putting it all together. For parents, we need to nurture that vision. We need to nurture the values, and we need to nurture their voice, irrespective of your child's age. Irrespective of your child's age, but especially as they come into teen years. And I'll tell you something about the teen years. A lot of times we've raised our children so well between 0 and 12, and we think that those are the same values and skills that they will just, automatically become adults with those skills. The teenage phase is another phase where you need to reiterate those values. Don't make the assumption that because you taught them those values before they were teens, that you don't need to do anything else in their teen years. No, the teen years is another stage, because it's from the teen years that our children form their identity, they form who they're becoming, they form their vision for the adulthood. Don't skip the teen years. And don't use the same method you used in their younger years in their teen years. The teen years is you're a totally different parent in the teen years. And that's one of the mistakes that many parents make. They want to stay the same parent. Oh, I'm your mother. I will always be your mother. No one's saying you're not going to be their mother. We're just saying you're going to be a different type of mother. A teenager's mother is different from a young child's mother. A teenager's father is different from a young child's father. Now there's a lot of collaboration. Now there's a lot of talking. Now there's a lot of ideas being listened to and spoken back and forth. It's now less about control and more about collaboration in the teen years. Because in those teen years, that's when they're forming who they're becoming. It's from the teen years they become the adults that we want them to be. So those teen years are very, very important. You've got to see your child through their potential, not through their behavior, through the potential. There was a post I shared recently, and I said that a lot of the misbehaviors that we see from our children, it's not because they want to be defiant. It's because they lack the skills. So they lack the emotional regulation skills. They lack those skills, communication skills, to articulate the reasons why they've done something. Start to look at your children through the lens of their potential. Each and every one of our children have great potentials. Each and every one of our children are leaders. Call your child a leader. Let your child know that they're leaders. And I had someone that questioned me one time when I was talking about this. I said, but if everybody's going to be leaders, who's going to be the follower? And I smiled and I said, call your child a leader. Your child is a leader in their own lane. Somewhere else they may be a follower. Somewhere else they may be a mentee. Not a problem. But you call your child a leader. Every child is a leader. Every child was born a leader. So don't listen to those voices that say, oh, if everybody leaders, then who are the followers? Just focus on your child being a leader. Each of your children in your homes are leaders. And they need to know that, because they will lead in their own spaces. They will lead in their own sphere of influence. They lead, they're leaders. You got to speak it, you got to model it, and you've got to really hold on to it, even in times when they do things wrong. Still call them that leader that they are. Create weekly check-in times with your children. Even if it's every week or every 2 weeks or every month or every quarter, always create check-in times with your children. See how they're doing. See what they struggled with. See how they've overcome those struggles. Speak about it. Let that be the language of your home, so that your children know that if they go through things, there's a time where we're going to talk about it as a family. Celebrate their progress. Any progress your children make, celebrate it. Very, very important to celebrate it. And give them responsibility gradually. That these are some action steps that we need to take. Give them some responsibilities gradually. Let them know that their responsibilities is because we're a team in this home. Every child needs to hear that. It's so important for every child to hear. And I think just as a word of encouragement, and part of my final words is that you don't even need to be a perfect parent. You don't need to be a perfect parent. You just need to be very present with our children. You just need to also remember that you must be someone who is open to learn, unlearn, and relearn. I love that Alvin Toffler's quote, and I always share it. And he says in that his quote that the illiterates of the 21st century, they won't be those who cannot read or write. No, they're going to be those. The illiterates are going to be those who are unwilling to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I say this in parenting, that parenting is a cycle. There's a cycle that it happens in parenting. We're learning, we're unlearning, and we're relearning. It's a continuous cycle. If you're in a stage in parenting where you're not unlearning, then you're not doing parenting right. If you're in a stage in parenting where you're not learning, unlearning, and relearning, you're not winning in parenting. So even from this conference, and even from this topic, this segment that we're in, I'll encourage you after this segment, if you want to rewatch it again, rewatch it, but note down things that you're now learning from this. Note down things that you're unlearning from it. Go to PF's session as well. What have you learned from it? What are you going to unlearn from it? What are you going to stop doing? What are you going to learn to do more of? That's where this learning stuff comes from. Don't just come to a conference, listen, and then just go your way. Make notes of what you're going to do differently from this conference. That's what's going to make your time here worthwhile. We're no more in the years or in the days where we do not be intentional, where we're not intentional about parenting, where we're not conscious about parenting. No. We've got to be so conscious in our parenting now. Because the world as we see it, you know what the world is like. And your children who are born leaders need to know that their parents are growing, need to know that their parents are learning and unlearning. Because if you're not learning or unlearning, then what gives you the audacity to tell your children to learn and unlearn? You see what I mean? So we've got to model what it is that we're sharing with our children. And when you're able to build these foundations of the vision, values, and their voices, it doesn't just stop at the age your child is. It continues. As your children, they're now younger children, you help them with the foundations of these three V's. As they get into teenage years, you continue to build on what you built before. As they get into their young adult age, you continue to build from where you left off in teenage years. So it's continuous. It's not like you do it one time and then you stop. This is continuous building. Continuous building. I'm doing that now with my young adult kids. We are continuing to talk about what's your vision? What's your next goal? What values now are you really focusing on this year? Where are you speaking? Where are you making use of your voice? How are you influencing your peers? How are you speaking out there? I'm encouraging them to speak. And I'm also working on it as well. What is my next vision? What are my values? What values am I holding on to now? What's my next level? Where am I going to? What am I doing in the parenting world? What am I doing in the teens' personal development world? I am continuously growing. And how am I using my voice? Because the more I'm using my voice, my children are watching me as I use my voice. My children know that I'm going to be speaking on this platform today. You model what it is that you want your children to do. And parenting doesn't mean that you stop in what you want to achieve as well in life. Because the more you live your purpose, the more that you're in a better space to parent your children. So don't say, oh, I won't do much yet until my children are grown. You'll be frustrated. And you'll be parenting them from a frustrated point of view. And we don't want that. So for you that are watching now, and for you that are going to watch later on. What's your vision? What are your values? Where are you using your voice? You've got to model that if you're going to help your children build those 3 V's. you've got to model it as well. So I think with these few words of mine, I hope that I have, or I trust that I've been able to share a few foundational keys on how you can build the leaders of tomorrow, and how you can build these leaders that you have in your homes. When you go back into your homes today, look at your child and just smile and say, wow, I'm looking forward to the leader that you are. Let them hear. They'll think, oh, what's she saying? What's he saying? Start to speak into the leaders that they are. Thank you so much, Sandra. And thank you so much to the Winning Parent team. Yes, please connect with me on Fina Chichi on Instagram and on LinkedIn. And thank you again for having me on this conference. Thank you. God bless.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Mrs. Fina, for this session. Just like FS, this is really, really deep. Very, very deep. That was really insightful. Before I just share a few of my takeaways, if you have any question, please add it in the comment section while I just share my key takeaways before I bring on the convener of the Winning Parenting Conference. So based on what I have, I mean, I for me as a parent, from all the nuggets that you have shared, I am confident that I've been able to use some of them, if not all of them, and the results is very, very evident, as in I can see it. So just like I said, you talked about visions, values, and voice. How do we as parents, what's our vision? What are our values, and how do we use our voice? So once we as parents understand that, it's very, very easy for us to transfer it to the children. So, and one of the things I also learned is you have to model what you're teaching. Model, that's very, very important. Very, very important. You have to model what you're teaching. If you're teaching hard work, how are you showing that you are hardworking? So, and there was another thing you said that I know that works for us, as I mean, I and my husband for my son. My son is 21. He just graduated from university. So, I mean, there was a time he had challenges with course. He was able to tell us, okay, this course, I failed it. And we didn't have to tell him. Even when doing his results, we don't ask him, where's your result? He will just, when results are out, he presents it. So I believe it's the way we made him, what we taught him, what our values are. He knows what the values are, and he understands it, and he sees it. So whatever you're modeling is what your child will take. So then also with the values, you have to be very specific. How specific are we with the values we want to instill in our children? And how specific are we even modeling that value? Those values, modeling it I think is a major thing here. Whatever you want to teach the children, you have to model it. And children need to go through setbacks. So there's this mindset that, he's a child. We shouldn't coddle them. They need to go through setbacks. They need to, because we also have to tell them, these are the setbacks I am going through. Absolutely. And as humans, that is exactly what you can also go through. And it doesn't mean you will die. You are not going to die. You're going to remain stronger. You're going to remain stronger. Yes. And allow the children to talk and express themselves, just like you said, respectfully. And for them to be able to do that, you have to teach them. You must teach them how to be respectful about expressing themselves. And check in time and talk about challenges. Checking in time is very, very important, because don't just assume you sent your child to school. He's okay. He's doing well. I've sent him money. It should be fine. It's not about money. You need to check. How are you feeling? What's happening to you? I'll just share. I call my son once in a while. I tell him, today I'm not feeling too well. Today I'm a bit down. Something happened at the office and I wasn't happy about it. And sometimes he even advise me, tell me, okay, do it this way. Do it this way. And that's because I've been vulnerable. And he knows that mommy will go through challenges, definitely. So I too can go through challenges. So Fina, it was very, very awesome. And I really, really, when I was just seeing all the nuggets, I was like, wow, maybe there's a few that I may have to improve on, because we're not perfect. I am happy, and I'm happy as a parent that I have been able to use these nuggets, and my son turned out very well. That I am proud of. I'm not going to say
Well
I'm
done,
arrogant.
of course.
I am
No.
very, very proud of that.
Yes,
So
claim
thank
it.
you so much. Yes,
You're
yes,
welcome. You're
yes.
welcome.
So let's see where if we can get some questions. And based on, okay, so there's a question here that says, is any child really born stubborn? And if they are, how do you handle such a child?
Yeah, no child is born stubborn. We talk about children being strong-willed. So there's something called strong-willed children, not stubborn. Stubborn is a word we've used in the past because they didn't do what we told them to do, so we termed them as stubborn. we have strong-willed children and these strong-willed children, the reason why it triggers many of us as parents is because we didn't have the audacity to be strong-willed when we were growing up. And so a strong-willed child will challenge you. A strong-willed child will shake you a little bit. I have strong-willed children. And what we do with strong-willed children, because that being strong-willed, there's a big advantage for it. Because when they're older or when they face peer pressure, they hardly fall into it. Because they're already used to saying no. No, I'm not going to do that. So there's an advantage to it. But what we need to do as parents of strong-willed children is that we need to nurture them in a different way from how we were growing up, and see their strong-willedness not as disobedience, but as a way of life. But I'm not saying you leave them alone. You teach them how to do it respectfully. So as teenagers, they may tell you, "Oh no, mom, I don't want to do what you're saying now. I'm going to do it around 6 o'clock." Okay, for me, 6 o'clock is not the end of the world. If they don't want to do it right now that I'm talking to them about it, and they're going to do it at 6 o'clock, fine. But another parent might see that as being stubborn.
Yeah.
No, it's negotiation. And we want our children to learn how to negotiate so that when they're out there in the world and somebody wants them to just do something, they don't jump quickly and go and do it. They think, let's negotiate. Okay, I don't want to go out at this time. I'm going to go out after I've done my work. I'm going to go out after I've done in lectures in university. I'll go out after I've finished my project. They learn how to negotiate, but they've got to learn it at home. And learning it at home, we might think they're being stubborn. We might think that they're being disobedient. We've got them to give them the opportunity to be able to negotiate. They don't have to do things immediately we tell them to do things. They don't. So I would say no to stubborn, but yes to strong-willed, and we can nurture the strong-willed child. We don't want to break the strong-willed child because they need that strong-willedness in life.
Sure. Wow. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. So I don't know, Sandra, I don't know whether there's any other question that Ms. Fina would like to answer. So another one says, how do you handle laziness in teenagers?
Yes. So again, it's a big one, but also laziness, the definition of laziness is just everybody has the perspective of it. Your teenager may not see themselves as lazy. We might see a teenager as lazy because they're not as hardworking. They're not putting in a lot of effort as we put in. So sometimes we see that. So I would encourage parents not to use the word laziness to their children. How would you then motivate your children? Your child may be unmotivated, or your child may not have that vision. And this is why this session was so important. If your child has a vision about his life or her life, there's no chance for laziness. And this is why, go back again to this topic that we've learned. Start to build their vision to those teenagers. Start to build their values. Teach them values. Create values. Let you guys talk about values. Tell this your teenager. Let's choose at the end of this year now, or the early next year, as our goal setting session, everybody choose 3 values that they're going to show up with next year. Now it's them, because they've created and they've chosen those values. It's up to them to live those values. And then you can even have your own home values that everybody must have. Hard work, resilience, all that. And let that be the stable ones. How does it look like? If hard work is part of it, let your teenager tell you what hard work looks like. And let your teenager start to model what childhood looks like. You encourage your teenager. You don't shout at your teenager for that laziness. Encourage your teenager. Tell your teenager, okay, these are the values that you've chosen. How are you going to show up with those values? And when you notice them showing up with those values, praise them for it. Give them a high five. Tell them, I noticed what you did. I noticed how hard you worked the other day. I'm really proud of you. and you go your way. That laziness, you will not even feel it anymore because you've encouraged them, you've affirmed them, and you've given them the tools, those values. They need those values. Without those values, without the vision, without the voice, yes, teenagers can get lazy because they have nothing that they're aspiring to. So the 3 V's will help in that situation. I trust that helps.
Wow, absolutely. That's a very excellent way to put that, because when I said it's a big one, I know I also work at the teenage church, church in church, the teenage. So these are one of the things they always talk about, as in, oh, lazy. When my mommy says I did not do this, okay, I said I would do it, but I will do it later, just like you have mentioned. So negotiating. I hope our parents are listening to that, because people may not. I doubt if a lot of people will agree with that. They'll tell you no.
You have to. There's different walls. Yes, they've got. There's a different walls.
I want you to do it. Yes. Wow. Okay. Thank you so much. So Sandra, over to you.
Thank you so much, man. Wow. Honestly, it's that session was very reflective, and I believe as parents listen or watch the replay, they would have a lot of take homes, because it was like an audit session where you really to look at what you're working with. It's very easy to point fingers at children, especially like the explanation you gave about somebody being labeled as stubborn. We always have our own point of view where we're parenting from. And most times we don't really want to look at their own point of view. I love to say to parents, from time to time, flip the switch and see if you can wear the shoes that you're making the child wear. If we can help us to see the world through their eyes, sometimes really understand how they feel about some of this. I loved what you said, so many grounds. It has really been very insightful. Thank you so much. I also love when you talked about parenting being a cycle. You are unlearning, you're relearning, you are because it's just like when a software is installed. If that software is not giving you the result you want, it may damage maybe your computer or whatever it is, and until you take time to uninstall that software, you go nowhere. Sometimes we just have these ideologies. This is how my child to be, but we're still outdated software. We're still carrying software cannot child thrive. And so it's like a war where the children are resisting, and we're like, oh, the child is stubborn, but no, we're not meeting at a point. So this has really been so insightful. We would listen again, I believe, and I know that this is going to birth a rethink. It's going to birth a transformation in our parenting journey. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for spending with us. I know this is a busy time for you, because hello everyone, she is the latest glamour in town.
Glamour,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
One of the things that really Mrs. Fina, I've known her for a couple of years. She's been very supportive of Winning in Parenting. She's spoken at a couple of our conferences. I was looking at her children, even though it was just online. And especially Tamara, I saw how she nurtured, she's this theater person, this performer. She wants to do all of those things. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this, because my daughter is also a performer and all of that. I loved how she was pushing her, Then her son, he went to Harvard, and he was, I don't know what that thing is. That oh my God.
Okay.
He got so many awards. I'm like, oh my God, this is what we're talking about. It's not about, just being single-faced in one direction, that, oh, for you must do this. I mean, there are many other creative things that our children can excel at. And I'm just so happy to know you and to learn from you as well. Thank you for blessing us with this rich knowledge tonight. And to all our listeners, thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Let's release Mrs. Fina. You can follow her on Instagram at Fina Chichi, and then on LinkedIn as well, Fina Chichi. Please go and follow, learn from her, take her programs, and trust me, you'll be better for it. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. God bless you, and God bless all the parents as well. Thank you, Tammy
Thank
and Dyer
you.
as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bless you, Sandra. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much, everyone. Temidayo, thank you. Thank you for hosting this session so beautifully. Thank you for, just driving the conversation. It was so, I enjoyed it. I really, this session was really calm, and I was just, reflecting. Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And to our listeners, we want to thank you for spending time with us. We're doing this for all of us because family is it is the crux of the matter. Family is the bedrock of society. And whatever we want to see, that change really begins from our homes. It begins in our homes. That is what we're just trying to drive. That is the narrative we're trying to push, that the work lies in our hands. We are not just birthing children, but we are following through. We're letting our children know that there is a king in you. You are a leader. And we are here to call forth that greatness. Because if we don't call for the greatness in our children, that means, who are we raising? Are we just going to be raising
Yes.
people? No, we are more than that. Our children are much more than that. They carry what they carry. Like PS said earlier, when God is answering prayers, He's sending those answers in children. Those children right now, they carry solutions that will shape culture, that will shift, that will put them on the world center stage. So it is our duty to call forth that greatness and nurture that potential. And I believe that this will spur us to do the right thing. And for those that have been doing the right thing, we would just encourage you to keep at it, especially after hearing testimonies about Mrs. Fina's children and Mrs. Temidayo's children as well. I also have my own testimonies, So it really pays to be a conscious parent. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Temidayo, over to you.
All right. So thank you everyone for joining. If you want to if you didn't join the first session, please go back to and replay. Just go to YouTube and search for Winning in Parenting. And we continue tomorrow with 2 other sessions. Please don't miss it for anything. Don't miss it. So the first session starts by 4:30 p.m. and the second one starts by 6 p.m. The first session is going to be by Dima Nwobi, who is the queen of happiness and human flourishing. You should please join and hear her. If you hear all our nuggets, I was at the conference last year, I also moderated, so I know what I'm talking about. And of course, the king of safeguarding, Mr. or Ogbeni, he calls himself now Ogbeni Taiwo Akinlami. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. So we expect you tomorrow on Winning on Parenting YouTube. All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining and have a lovely night rest. Good night, everyone. Bye. And see you tomorrow.
Okay,
Bye.
Okay. Before we go, I also want to talk about the book Parenting Pitfalls. Parenting Pitfalls is a book that every parent should get. You may not take my word for it, but when you dive into that book, you would understand what I'm talking about. I want you to make it a point of duty to place an order for that book. That book will help you. It will show you the pitfalls that even loving parents get into. You are a loving parent, you are all good, you're doing everything right, but there are certain things that, even in that state of doing everything right, that are working against the children. I want you to get that book. As I was writing the book, I was being ministered to myself, honestly. So yeah, please can you display the book so we can scan the QR code, or just send a WhatsApp message to the number scrolling on the screen to get a copy. It is a book you would love. It will help you, and I cannot wait to hear your testimonies after reading the book. Thank you so much, everyone. 8. Bye for now. And don't miss the sessions. Mrs. Temidayo has said so. We'll see you again tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
This November, something special is happening in Lagos. Join us for the Parenting Conference 2025, the movement shaping tomorrow's leaders, today. Come experience powerful insights, practical tools, healing conversations, and inspiration to raise children who will lead, succeed, and make a difference. It's happening live and in person on Saturday, the 22nd of November, at 4 Points by Sheraton Victoria Island, Lagos. Don't miss this life-changing gathering for parents, educators, and all who care about the future. Register now. Your journey to future-ready parenting begins here. The Parenting Conference 2025. The future starts at home.
God's perfect plan is divine in hand, building a future so strong and grand. For every woman and man alike, to nurture, to lead, to love and raise children who shone in man their ways. We are raising a future so bold and bright. We are raising a future so bold and bright. One home at a time will shine the light. With hearts renewed and visions so true, guided by God, we'll show the way through. His love will carry us morning and night. With every step we take hand in hand, building a future so strong and grand. For every woman and man alike, to nurture, to lead, to love and raise children who shine in all of their ways. We are raising the future so bold and bright.